Hey everybody, Tom Judd here, Chair of GCEA, and also a member of the Global Clinical Engineering Alliance Founders Council. We've got today with us Dr. Saide Calil from Brazil, one of the founding council members, and we're going to ask him some questions and find out more about where he's come from and how he's supporting the Alliance. Hey Calil, so tell us a little bit about your extensive background in the field and some of the things you're most proud of.
Well, Tom, thank you. First of all, thank you for this interview. I'm really glad to be one of the guys that is being interviewed by the team, by this what you are doing, you are trying to promote. Very nice. Well, to answer your question, Tom, I am an electrical engineer, a biomedical engineer, and a clinical engineer by heart, I would say. And in Brazil, let's just say, I was part of the group that helped to develop the clinical engineering in Brazil. And of course, as I am an enthusiast to help the clinical engineering profession locally, nationally, and globally. And even because I worked with IFME for so many years, trying to improve the clinical engineering profession over there. And in Brazil, I would say that I'm still working in the clinical engineering field because right now I am organizing a National Clinical Engineering Congress. So I even as a retired now, as a professor at the university, I'm still working and dedicating myself to the clinical engineering field, and I will still do it as long as I can.
Very good. Now you've been here, in the profession 30 plus years. How would you define clinical engineering and some of its key goals?
It's a very tricky question, Tom. I would say the clinical engineers are problem-solving people within the health system. I would say, widely speaking, they are developing activities in what I call 4 segments in the health system. Let's just say hospital, service delivery companies, industries, and governments. So just an example, when we started to train clinical engineers in Brazil, like back in 1995, 94, we thought that all clinical engineers were going to hospitals, and we were wrong, because many of them not only went to service delivery company, but also found their own service companies, which is very nice that we have several service delivery companies here in Brazil that were with clinical engineers that are trained by us. And I would say that they are the only people that are present to all the services in the infrastructure in a hospital, really, where which helps them to understand the system as a whole, interact with all the hospital workers, know their problems, and apply the best possible solution, technical solution, I would say. And regarding the goals, I think the clinical engineers are patient and healthcare staff safety and welfare. So meaning they are the guys who really only focus on patient safety and also the hospital, the health people in the hospital. That's my thought anyway.
Calil, great answers. Now you do talk about guys, and of course we have these wonderful women clinical engineering professionals that are part of the Founders Council, and so we'll be interviewing them and hear more from them. So in your own words and your country's perspectives, I think you've already spoken to some of the main activities of clinical engineering professionals. Anything you want to add to that? I mean, I heard you talking about hospitals and industry and government and academia.
Well, today in Brazil, we have a very strong participation. When I said, sorry, Tom, when I say guys, I mean, I'm not.
I know you do. I know you do.
Agenda. But
You're
really,
forgiven. Don't worry.
No, we have some very, very good and active clinical engineer, women clinical engineers in Brazil, very, very, and leaders in their country, their region. So what I would say that we have a very strong participation today of clinical engineers within what we call the Anvisa, which is a kind of FDA similar organization in Brazil, and also in the Ministry of Health. So I think I would say in the last 20 years, they are really defining some of the things of protection and safety in the clinical engineering area, or sorry, in the health area, that were I mean, those are the things that were defined by the people that are clinical engineers today, that are trained by us or by other groups here in Brazil. That was very good that we achieved.
Great answers. So, you know, like you said, in the Ministry of Health and the regulatory world, along with the people in hospitals and industry and academia, pushing safety and quality. So finally, why did you join the Global Clinical Engineering Alliance, and how do you think GCEA will help international healthcare?
Tom, I would say, like you, we didn't join. We made it. We built the GCEA. I think it's one of the, I would say, one of the highest achievement in my career, really, as a clinical engineer, is to be able to join with people like you, like Yadin, like Nicholas, and all of them that really started to do something globally regarding clinical engineering for clinical engineers. See, though I work with CED from an IFMBE, as you know, and you particularly is doing a fantastic work towards improving the clinical engineering worldwide. There were several initiatives within the clinical engineering field, like journal, like Congress, like Summit, like CE Day, that you helped to organize, and were not within the IFMB. So we needed somewhere, someplace to gather all those activities and offer them in a very organized way, and that we are trying to do now. I think the clinical engineer now have an organization that represents professional working in the clinical engineering field. And the best thing is that GCEA can control its own requirements, meaning requirements dedicated to improve the clinical engineering profession. So, and one of the best things I think is that the alliance now, being an alliance, can even work and accept other professionals working in areas correlated to clinical engineers. So we are opening a new, I would say, a new proposition in the clinical engineering field for us to work together with other professions within the health system. That's one of the reasons why I was so eager to build with you, with all the people, the GCEA.
So I love the vision for wider stakeholders. I mean, alongside many of the other pieces you already said, I love that the Alliance will be able to do research projects around the world and get field evidence back, like we've just done for the World Health Organization in recent months around COVID issues. So there's so many reasons why we think the Alliance will make a difference. And any closing comments from you? Any thoughts?
Yes. I think sometimes I speak to my students, and I speak in my thoughts. Sorry, in my speeches, I would say, during Congress, what we need in some countries there, that the clinical engineers really wake up and just leave just the equipment management. They are concentrated, meaning, I mean, normally would say maintenance, equipment maintenance, and really go to other wider things that clinical engineering can offer, like patient safety, human factor engineering, and several other activities that can be done by clinical engineer, as long as I would say, hospitals administrators know that they are able to do that. I think this should be our final goal. If GCEA could achieve that, then will be what I really dreamed of. That's the point.
Well, we're so glad we've got both a professional clinical engineer such as yourself, but also a professional educator, because you know, we need to look at that body of knowledge and that body of practice. I know you've written about it around the world, and you've helped survey the world about that. And you know, I know we're going to do a rising tide of competence for clinical engineers around the world, and I'm excited that you're a part of it.
Well, thank you, Tom. Thank you very much.